Welcome back to another AI Bulletin episode. Today, the rising tide of AI slop. This is your daily rundown of AI, science, and the tech that's threatening to disrupt every aspect of our lives. Today's big theme, AI slop. Will it overwhelm social media and threaten our democratic processes? In this format, we'll aim to cover up to 5 stories each weekday, bringing you updates on AI as they happen. Well, the first story, AI slop and authenticity. X rolls out a made with AI tag. On the platform side, X is reportedly introducing a made with AI tag so creators can flag AI generated or manipulated posts. That's from the Economic Times, March 1st, 2026. Voluntary disclosure is something, I suppose, but of course bad actors will not use the feature. But the real question is enforcement and incentives. If AI content performs better in the algorithm, creators will post more of it. If disclosure reduces reach, creators will avoid it. If disclosure is optional, bad actors will simply not disclose at all. The made with AI label becomes at best a map for honest people with potential penalties attached for being honest and transparent, while everyone else keeps driving without headlights and seatbelts. Story 2, data centers as a political battleground. Now the AI costs electricity story is turning into regulatory conflict. The Guardian reports UK data center developers face calls by groups including Friends of the Earth and Foxglove to disclose impacts on net emissions and local water scarcity amid a surge in AI-driven infrastructure. That's from The Guardian, March 1st, 2026. This is where AI stops being just about apps and light infrastructure and starts to have the energy consumption and environmental footprint of heavy industry. And once it's heavy industry, it becomes a fight about who gets grid priority, who pays for upgrades, whether green claims are actually a new generation electricity or just creative accounting. AI isn't just reshaping work, it's reshaping planning law. This tussle is likely to intensify exponentially until AI finds cheaper ways to process, or potentially the investment bubble bursts. Story 3, grid stability risk, data centers unplugging at once. And there's a second order energy story. That's about stability. The Wall Street Journal reports a growing risk where clusters of data centers can automatically disconnect during grid disturbances, switching to backup power, creating sudden drops in demand that grid operators must counterbalance quickly. That's from Wall Street Journal, March 1st. It's counterintuitive but important. Grid stability isn't only about shortages, it's about unexpected swings. Data centers are becoming a new class of grid actor and a new category of critical infrastructure. And if they behave in synchronized ways, well, you introduce systemic risk into the electricity network as we embed these AI processes throughout the supply chain. Within our governance and legal infrastructure, health and education, the risks of catastrophic outage rise exponentially. As an aspect few are yet considering, what if terrorism or hybrid warfare takes down critical AI infrastructure? What are the implications for the nation that is under attack? Well, this is the AI tsunami that we spoke about in the last episode, but in infrastructure form. Story 4, kids, companions and control. One thread tying together AI companions, algorithmic persuasion and teen safety. Governments are reaching for blunt instruments of regulation. Reuters reports a wave of efforts from Australia to Europe to restrict children's access to social media, framed around youth protection and platform harms. That's from Reuters, February 27th. This intersects with AI because recommendation systems are basically behavior-shaping machines, and generative AI makes them more persuasive, more tailored content, more companionship, more emotional hooks. The cultural shift here is massive. States are increasingly willing to treat platform access like a regulated environment. Less free expression, more public health. Now that may not be wrong, it may not even be a bad thing given the highly addictive qualities of social media content to young and impressionable minds. Well, here's the last story: education and detection backlash. Students fear false accusations. This last story hits identity and opportunity pretty hard through the topic of education. Inside Higher Ed reports on student stress driven by fear of being wrongly flagged by AI detectors, highlighting a trust gap between students' tools and institutional detection methods, and recommending schools reconsider tools that produce false positives. That's Inside Higher Ed, February 25th. We're building systems where students use AI because the world rewards speed and polish. Institutions try to detect it with unreliable tools. And the result is anxiety, adversarial dynamics, and administrative injustice, a kind of arms race between humanity and artificial minds on several levels. This is how you get a generation that learns that the rules are ambiguous and enforcement is arbitrary. This is becoming less like education and more like an educational combat arena. A sort of reverse Turing test is emerging. Prove to me your work was done by a human and not a bot. The presumption here is that the work produced by a bot is more polished, better structured, more insightful than the human work. And you need to prove that you are up to the standards of the robot, which is, of course, an extraordinary development. That's it for today. See you in the next episode.